Now, Saudi Arabia is continuing to advance its status as a global aviation hub, and in line with the Saudi Aviation Strategy, the kingdom aims to see passenger capacity rise to 330 million passengers per year and 4.5 million tons of cargo throughput by the year 2030. Well, Airbus is already a big part of that journey and has clocked up a series of major deals. Well, I'm joined here in the studio by Gabriel Semelas, who is the Airbus President, Africa and Middle East. Thank you very much indeed for coming to see us.
Thanks for having me, Tom.
Let's just start by sort of really setting the scene for our viewers. If you could just tell us, what is Airbus's presence in this region and in particular in Saudi Arabia?
Well, absolutely. I mean, Airbus has been in the region for many decades, specifically in Saudi Arabia. We've been here for the last 25 years. Present in the three divisions of the company, as you know: commercial aircraft, defense and space, and also in helicopters. On the commercial aircraft, we obviously have more than 200 aircraft in operation with the main carriers, FlyNAS, with also Saudia, Flyadeal, the low-cost carrier of Saudia. And as you probably saw, recently announced some orders with Riyal, the new airline of the kingdom, connecting the world. So we are serving Riyal as well, soon to deliver some A321s to them. And also we announced an order of 350s at the Paris Air Show, which will be coming very soon as well with the airline. Also with the leasing company from the PIF, Avilease, we announced a big order as well with some 350 freighters and also some single-aisle A320 aircraft. So absolutely devoted for that. Obviously the need, and that shows a bit the collaboration that we're doing with the Vision 2030, the need for aircraft in Saudi Arabia is growing. With this backlog, on top of the 200 aircraft in operation, we've got more than 450 aircraft to come just in Saudi Arabia. As you know, Saudi Arabia is attracting a lot of travel in the region, tourism, but also religious travel. In fact, three of the main routes, busiest routes in the world, according to IATA, are in Saudi Arabia. From Dubai to Riyadh, Riyadh Jeddah, and Jeddah Cairo, which is impressive. I mean, when you look at the ambition of 2030 of having 300 million passengers to come, they're already on the journey to that, so that's pretty impressive. Of course, we also have some activities with defense and space. The main one are the Eurofighter planes, which are obviously part of our consortium as well. We have a share in the Eurofighter consortium for those jets that are operated by the Air Force. The refueling aircraft will be called the MRTTs, which are to refuel the fighter jets, but also to carry transport troops, medical evacuation in international missions. There will be the biggest fleet with up to 10 aircraft coming in soon into the Air Force outside Europe. And of course, the military transport aircraft that we have, the C295s, which have been operating in the kingdom for quite some time. And on top of that, if you add all the helicopters activity, we have more than 100 helicopters from Airbus flying there, with companies also from the PIF, like the helicopter company, private operators, but also with the Air Force and other branches of the Ministry of Defense. So quite a big presence, more than 400 employees now in Saudi Arabia. And as I said, we've been there for over 25 years.
Wow, so all of that happening, and you mentioned Riyadh Air, and we've had Riyadh Air on this program. Clearly, you're seeking to capitalize on all of that momentum. We have heard some reports that, sometimes it isn't possible for demand and supply to match perfectly. Is it going to be possible to deliver and, match the demand with Airbus aircraft?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as you said, there's a huge demand for aircraft. We've never seen such a backlog. We've got more than 8,500 aircraft in the backlog around the world. There is a plan to ramp up production. So, for example, on the single-aisle program, which is one of our most successful programs on the A320, we're planning to ramp up to 75 aircraft a month. That is impressive, as you see. 75 aircraft in 2027. We've recently announced the opening of two new assembly lines, one in the US, in Mobile, Alabama, and one in China as well, which adds up to 10 assembly lines. Wide bodies as well on the 350 program. Currently doing a rate of 6 a month. Our plan is to ramp up to 12, so that's doubling the production of the aircraft by 2028. Similarly, on the A330, a bit more of a shy production in that sense, but still 4 aircraft a month, and in 2027 we'll be going up to 5 aircraft a month. So that's the plan. Of course, we see there is a growing demand, and we are ramping up, obviously together with our supply chain, to make sure that we can deliver to that demand.
Well, it sounds like you're firing on all cylinders at the moment. In terms of manufacturing, you mentioned various plants around the world. Any ideas that perhaps in the future you could perhaps do some manufacturing in this region?
Well, there's obviously plans in place. We look at the whole supply chain and the whole ecosystem. As you know, the aerospace industry is a highly regulated industry, so we need those suppliers to be at the real standards. Everything has to be certified according to certain standards, EASA, FAA, and we need those suppliers to deliver it to quality, deliver to time, and to be able to match those needs on the production. We've done a scoping of the whole supply chain and the whole supply chain ecosystem in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. You probably saw recently as well some announcements around qualifying local companies for the sourcing of titanium and aluminium. So there are partnerships we're building upon. Another good example is the partnership we have with SAMI, which is part of the PIF group as well, to do all the MRO activities for the military assets that we have in the kingdom. So indeed, there is a capacity, and we're constantly exploring the opportunities that we have in the kingdom with local supply chain.
And when it comes to sourcing talent locally, I know you've expanded quite significantly. We do sometimes hear from people that we talk to that finding the right people isn't always easy, given that the market is undergoing so much growth. Are you finding you're having to import talent, or are you finding the local talent you need?
I mean, if we look at the global market forecast for the next 20 years, we have a huge need for new aircraft. And as a consequence with that, we obviously need the people to operate those aircraft, to service those aircraft, and also even at the cabin crew to operate those aircraft. So yes, there is a huge need just in the region. We estimate the need of around 265,000 additional people. So clearly having those people properly trained is a must for us to be able to deliver in our commitments. So as Airbus, we are providing long-term partnerships. We are about transferring as well know-how so that we can develop the local ecosystems. And we're cooperating with a lot of these local stakeholders, universities, educational partners, training schools as well, to gear up all the workforce in order to be able to deliver those aircraft and the ecosystem to be ready when it has to be. So yes, human capital as part also of the Vision 2030, key aspect of the angle, and also a key aspect of our strategy in the kingdom to provide those needs in the country.
Okay, just talk us through your medium to long-term plans in this particular region.
So medium to long term, we look at commercial aviation. I said that there is a huge need. The global market forecast indicates there is a need of around 3,750 aircraft that are required in this region in order to cater for that growth. And it's impressive because when you look at other parts of the world and the split between single aisle and wide body, it's in the Middle East. You see there is a 43% need on wide body aircraft. I mean, you've probably flown on routes from Dubai to Riyadh where you're operating an A380 aircraft for a 1.5-hour route. You don't see that in other parts of the world. And the planes are full. We have also with Saudi the high-density A330 aircraft, which carries up to 300 passengers, also on the same route. I mean, it's impressive, that growth. And we see it continuing to grow. And the establishment and obviously the growing middle class, not just in Saudi Arabia, but also in the Middle East, we see it growing above the GDPs. So obviously people have a need to travel, connecting families, connecting businesses, also transporting cargo, which is very important. So clearly there is a growing need, and we are there to support the airlines and to support the economies in that path of growth.
Indeed. I mean, I've been on an A380 very recently between Dubai and Riyadh. It was full. I mean, there will be people who are wondering why not produce more A380s, given that those planes are all operating at maximum capacity, as far as I can see.
Yeah, indeed. So the A380 is a fantastic product, as you say. In the UAE, we have Emirates, obviously operating the biggest fleet of A380s. But of course, we're looking also at innovation, new products. A350 is our latest generation aircraft. It's got brand new engines developed by Rolls-Royce, which are 20 to 25% more efficient than oldest generation engines. As well as 70% of the aircraft is advanced materials. So the A350 is the new standard, these new technologies, and it's also a fantastic experience. So if you have the chance of flying on an A350, you'll see the high quality of the product and the cabin that we can offer and the airlines can offer in such type of products.
In terms of making air travel more ecologically friendly, what sort of innovations are there at Airbus in order to meet that goal?
Well, I mean, obviously one of the biggest innovations is the development of those new products like the A350 that I was mentioning. Just providing that 20 to 25% more fuel efficient means obviously less CO2 emissions, which is already in that journey of what we call the net zero to 2050. Saudi Arabia, for example, is in that journey of renewing the fleets. They probably have one of the lowest average age of fleets around the world, which is already going in that direction of reducing the CO2 emissions. The second pillar that we have, where we are also advising and supporting airlines and also local producers in the ecosystem, are sustainable aviation fuels. We see this as the most immediate way of reducing, in addition to the renewal of the fleets. Clearly, the challenge that we have is the price of SAF and the availability of SAF around the world. But we believe it's clearly our aircraft, we are investing in them being able to operate on a 50% blend of SAF. By 2030, they'll be able to operate on 100% SAF. But of course, we need to develop that ecosystem. We're doing a lot of work with the Civil Aviation Authority in Saudi, who is a great promoter of SAF. And we want to support the ecosystem in developing that so that then we can continue on the net zero journey of 2050.
Okay, well, it's all we have time for, unfortunately, but it's been a real pleasure talking to you and finding out about Airbus in this region. Gabriel Semelas, thank you very much indeed for your time.
Thanks to you, Tom. Thank you very much.